Tyler1. This guy is infamous for a lot of different reasons. He is by far the most popular League of Legends streamer on Twitch and was first known for being a toxic high elo Draven one trick. But over the last year, he set out on a mission to show how broken other roles are at carrying solo queue games. First, he did jungle when he went on a month-long hiatus to one-trick Ivern all the way to Challenger. It took him 2,000 games, but he did it. And then he did it in the mid lane. And now he's doing it in the top lane. And he's already Masters. So what if I told you that Tyler1 is a solo queue genius and is exposing the secrets to climbing in ranked? Well, whether you love him or you hate him, he is. And I'm going to show you why. This is how Tyler1 is dominating the top lane. Hey guys, YouTube's been telling me that most of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you have been enjoying the content, please subscribe.
Look at this! Look at the scoreboard! Are you kidding?
If you're not watching Tyler1 and you play League of Legends, you need to start. And not because he's highly entertaining, but because he's smart. And he's revealing secrets that every player should know if they play ranked. He's not highly experienced at the roles he's playing right now, and you can't use the excuse that he's been playing these champions for years, because he hasn't. He's climbing to high elo effortlessly, even though he doesn't have years of experience playing these champions or these matchups like other top players do. So what does he do? What's the difference here? Well, I'll show you a couple things that he does that you can start using today. The first is that Tyler learns and climbs at the same time because he learns a role through the eyes of a single champion. This concept is so valuable, but unfortunately is looked down upon in the League community. For some reason, people invalidate the rank of a one trick because that champion is the reason that they are there. Well, yes, exactly. They learned how to play their champion, their role, the game at, say, a diamond level, and they accomplish this through the lens of one champion. Heck, I'll even let you in on a little secret about most players that make it high elo. It's because they one trick. Most diamond players don't get to diamond because they played a bunch of champions, but because they have learned and mastered the game from the perspective of one. Just think about it for a moment and it makes sense. If we were just to add a single champion to your champion pool in the top lane, you're adding 4 new abilities, a bunch of different varying item builds, and around 40 potential matchups. And when you're trying to climb fast in high elo, you have to have all of these elements understood and unlock. Tyler1 wasn't an expert in the top lane when he started, but he's been learning because he's been playing only 1 or 2 champions. For example, when he was climbing to Challenger in the jungle, he played hundreds of games on Ivern and Olaf. Those were his 2 champions, and rarely, if ever, did he stray off of them. This season in the top lane, he's maining Irelia and has Aatrox as a backup. His fans were even memeing him about his Irelia win rate, but he knew that she was strong and fit his playstyle very well, and now he has like a 60+ win rate on her. And while he was finding his main champs, he dropped the champions that didn't fit his playstyle, and I can tell this by just looking at his OP.GG. He tried out Cho'Gath for a little bit, who was strong in the meta, but he quickly realized that it didn't fit his playstyle and dropped him. You see, most players don't have the time to learn all of the champions in a role. Heck, Tyler1 has all the time in the world, and if he's doing this, then I think you should too. Look at some of the top influencers in high elo. Yasuo, LL Stylish, Gross Gore, Antibot. They all got there by maining their signature champion because they learned everything about them, and that's how they got to high elo. This is a trusted and repeatable strategy that you need to use if you want to climb in ranked.
No shot, bro.
The second thing Tyler does is that he fights every time he has an advantage. And you might be thinking, well, of course you should do that. I even do that. But no, you don't do it like Tyler does. And after I explain, I think you'll understand. The whole point of being aggressive and pushing your advantage is to push your lead farther so that your opponent literally has no chance to come back into the game. I've been watching a lot of Tyler's VODs, and repeatedly after games that he stomps, he will say that he maybe had 1 or 2 mistakes in the whole game, which can sometimes seem like a stretch, but I agree. He makes very little mistakes when he gets ahead. But he also never lets up on the pressure, whether it's team fighting, split pushing, or making a play to catch out his opponent. When he has a lead, he is very, very aggressive. Season 11 is all about aggression and snowballing. Literally everything in this game is broken, so if you get ahead, you can spiral the game out of control. In Plat and Diamond, the average game duration is only 26 minutes. This is pretty unheard of at this elo, because in previous seasons and metas, games just went a little bit longer. Now, whoever gets an early lead will just get soul and win, or will just win before they get the 4 dragons anyways. I'll show you an example of how Tyler1 applies this aggression. Let's look at the start of this play. You have his mid laner half health and half mana, and it's Kassadin, so he won't be able to do much with his level 1 ultimate and little to no mana. He also has his Talia in the river with 2 waves hitting a perfect freeze point. What would you do? Right here, most players would ping their team off of this fight because they don't want to miss a lot of farm and they don't have pressure to make a play. But Tyler knows that he can use this wave to his advantage to keep 5 stacks and take this fight. With 5 stacks, a pot, and his Vampiric Scepter, he knows that he can lifesteal enough to stay alive and do a lot of damage. Like I said, most players would shy away from this play, but Tyler knows how to play the game through his champion Irelia and executes it perfectly. They get 3 for 0, which turns into him finishing the game 11, 1, and 5. And this all came from this snowbally play that he was willing to take because he knew he had an advantage and an opportunity. So begin to look for these plays, not to be reckless or to take a bunch of random fights, but look to squeeze out every ounce of aggression and momentum you can out of your opponents so that you can get leads that turn into easy wins. You want to do this because you don't want to give your opponent any time to breathe. Keep applying pressure so that they will make a mistake and fall even farther behind. This play allowed him to spiral out of control on a stompy champion like Irelia, and this was not an easy win for him. His teammates kept inting into the other team, but he kept it together and took home the dub. This leads us to point number 3, that even though he's on an island, he looks to control the entire top side of the map. The aggression from step 2 plays into this reason, control. Many people call top lane an island, which it is, but Tyler doesn't see this as a bad thing. He sees this as a way to control half of the map because if he gets an advantage, he can win a 1v1 or a 2v2, which will let him control the top side. All of it. You see him roam a lot to the mid lane to help, take his tower as fast as possible, and these things allow him to get vision control of the enemy jungler, and this pressures the top laner to either join fights down in levels and gold, or to keep farming in the side lane and miss out on those fights. And you might think, oh, that sounds easy enough, but wait, this is actually where most players get it wrong. You see, when you are, say, a 5-0 Irelia, you can start to get arrogant and think that you'll win in any situation. You can start to roam into the enemy jungle with no teammates around and think that you can do whatever you want. But you really can't. This play ends up getting most players killed and throws away large shutdown gold as well as map pressure. This is more valuable information than you think, and it's also why Tyler's 1 death in that game is so impressive. He had control of half of the map while his teammates fell behind, which means that the other team had the ability to kill them in their jungle if he got caught. But instead of throwing his body into fights and hoping for the best, he played steady and kept up the pressure and aggression, never taking a reckless fight. So when you start to put on that aggression and map pressure, don't let up on the gas. Keep getting control of the jungle, getting picks on the enemy jungler and other players, and just keep asserting pressure in side lanes. You'll need to pay attention to your other teammates and the pressure they're asserting too. If no one on your team is pushing, you probably shouldn't try to contest the enemy red buff, but you get the idea. Once you get to this stage of your progression as a player, you also need to make sure that you're looking at your minimap a lot and keeping track of where the enemy players are and how fast they can get to you if you're split pushing or invading.
Where is it most difficult to get Challenger, EU West, or NA? NA. NA is harder than EU. NA, bro. So we have worse players over here, so it makes 1v9ing harder.
The fourth reason why Tyler dominates the top lane is that he doesn't care about win rate or how many games it takes. He knows if he plays enough and improves, he'll climb. And unfortunately, the community tends to have a bias towards low games, high win rate accounts. And one of the biggest insults I see in my games are stay hard stuck noob with 500 games played, when in those games, they probably improved a lot, or mastered a champion and potentially even hit a new personal high rank. This insult and criticism actually doesn't make any sense at all. This is why lots of people create new accounts or have certain ones that they try hard on. It's all about outside perspective. But Tyler1 has a quality that is amazing and we should all adopt. He doesn't care. And not in the sense that he'll throw a game or troll, but he doesn't care what his accounts look like. He just enjoys the process of setting a goal and then reaching it. When Tyler took his 2-month hiatus to hit Challenger, he played hundreds if not thousands of games to get there and barely got to around 450 LP where he got Challenger. And I'm not saying you should drop out of school or quit your job to do that. That would be a bit ridiculous and incredibly unwise, but I am saying that you shouldn't worry about your win rate or KDA and the way your OP.GG looks. That may be what the community values, but it's vain and empty. It doesn't account for hard work, mastery, or learning. It took Tyler many games to reach Challenger in the jungle. He was one of the best junglers on the server and probably the best Ivern on the server as well. One thing that points to Tyler really not caring was his Irelia win rate at the beginning of his climb. His fans were roasting his early win rate because it was below 50%, but Tyler knew that his MMR was okay and that he understood the champion well, so he kept on playing her. And now he has way over a 50% win rate on the champion and is in mid-master tier now. He understood Irelia's win conditions, playstyle, and she felt strong with the new items. Her champion style just fits him as well. She's a bruiser that has a high skill ceiling that can also solo carry when she gets ahead. He didn't give up on the champion like he did with Cho'Gath, but for a good reason. He knew that he was good enough at her to end up winning games. So don't judge your win rates too harshly if you know that you're good at a certain champion and can carry with them. Keep at it, and I'm sure you'll find yourself winning more games in the future as you continue to learn and master that champion. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and I'll see you next time. Peace.